Greetings, class. On Sunday evenings, we come to you live to talk about real estate investing and entrepreneurship and what type of real estate deals we are doing. Greetings. I'm Chris Haskins. I'm going to be your co pilot for today as we wait for my pilots to come in with us. Dan Borrero, he will be here shortly. So, greetings and happy Easter to you and your family. In fact, I think that America, we're changing the title. What are we saying now? Happy Resurrection Day. Is that the new thing we're doing? I'm not even mad at it. I'm not even mad at it. So we're going to be putting up a number here for you to call in and talk about anything you've got going on regarding real estate, long-term holds, short-term holds, Airbnbs, all types of fix and flips. We're talking about creative buying, creative selling, all of the above, because I am here. My commitment to helping you with your real estate deals is on 100%. As I just came back from a Disney cruise, y'all. It was really cool. My wife is a spender. Praise the Lord. I am a saver. Praise the Lord. Let me cut my fan up here. I got a remote control for the fan. So I'm going to show you a deal that we're doing, and we're going to talk about some current events, some things that are really, really interesting about the National Association of Realtors. I'm finding out. We're going to talk about what else I got here. This is so cool to see. Section 8 waiting lists, y'all, are opening for 3 days. We're going to get into this article. It's really cool. So please let me know. Oh, yeah. Happy Resurrection Day. What's going on, Miss James? Happy Resurrection Day. Rebecca, please let me know where you guys are chiming in from. It is an honor to be with you and to be back. So we went on this Disney cruise and we went to Cozumel, and it really wasn't a big thing. Well, you know what? It was a big thing. We had a ball. We had a stateroom with 2 bathrooms and a deck, and it was really cool. And you were able to see the ocean and go to the Disney Island and hang out with the turtles out there and to see all type of things. And I'm not going to downplay that. So what happened to me was a guy told me, Chris, I'm just going to the Bahamas. This is maybe 10 years ago. He said, I'm going on a cruise. He goes, I'm just going to the Bahamas. I'm like, damn, maybe the Bahamas isn't a big deal. I think the Bahamas is a big deal, but to him, so I have to. It's so weird how the people that you hang around, if they don't think the Bahamas is a big deal, then you might not. But I'm like, you know what? The Bahamas is a big deal to me, so I'm doing that. I'm doing that. Say, see, happy Easter, happy Resurrection Day, happy Resurrection Day to you, happy Resurrection Day. I have to save. And you know what? I'm going to get into stuff tonight. I finally had an epiphany 2 weeks ago. I finally understand why the female is in charge for paying for the wedding. It hit me the other day when I was in the gym before I went on this cruise as I'm calculating all the money I'm spending on this cruise. Guys, gentlemen, if you do not understand why the woman is supposed to be in charge of the wedding, let me pull your coattails. The woman pays for the wedding because the man ends up spending for the rest of his life on the woman. Okay. So as I was calculating my little coins to pay for this cruise, I'm like, you know what? What? I don't know how it hit me, but for all my men out there, all my guys, the woman might pay for the wedding, but you're in for a ride after you have that wedding, y'all. So call in with your questions, please. 204. Oh shoot. I got a new phone here, so I don't get it. Borrero, I'm live right now. What's going on, buddy? Yeah, I'm already here. Bye. I did. That was Dan. So listen, y'all. Area code 757-204-1332. Let me get I got a new phone the other day, so I'm gonna make sure this thing's working. Bluetooth on. Oh shoot. Uh-oh. Not reading the okay. Bluetooth settings. How am I gonna do this? Turn Bluetooth on. Oh, other devices. Here we go. Give me 1 second, y'all. We'll get the phone number working here. Dan's on the way. I don't want to do Meta glasses. Samsung Echo Show. Is there something I need to do? Let me bring up my screen. Present, share screen. You guys, I'm getting ready to blow your mind. I'm ready to tear your mouth out. So look at this. So if you're not, oh shoot, if you don't have a clue of how the housing choice voucher, so Section 8, I don't know why people are so scared of Section 8. Look at this. Just to talk about demand. I want y'all to understand. Housing voucher. This is 2 days ago. Rental wait list opens. Portland, Oregon, for the first time in 2 years. Can somebody let me know if I'm freezing? Looks like my screen might be freezing sometimes. Dan's on the way. First time in 2 years, Multnomah County, Multnomah housing voucher waiting list opens to new applicants. Home Forward says up to 3,000 new applicants will be added to the list. Okay. All right. This is the housing, the Section 8 list, y'all. It is also opening wait list to more than a dozen low income apartment complexes. That's going to be the projects. The application will remain open through next Monday at 11:59 p.m. Now, here's the kicker, y'all. Please, I pray y'all going to get this. As of around 1:30 p.m. Tuesday. Let's look at what Tuesday was, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go look at what Tuesday was. Let me get my Gmail and look at my calendar. Let's see what Tuesday was, because this thing opened up on the 16th. I hope you guys I pray that y'all get this. What was Tuesday? Damn. That was the 15th. It just opened up. Just one day ago. Okay. As of around the same day, Tuesday, Home Forward reported more than 6,500 applications already. Let me help you. I want everybody to unpack this. 3,000 new applicants is what they're expecting. But as of the first day, they had 6,000 applications already. For comparison, during the last voucher waitlist in 2023, almost 3 years ago, around this same time of day, we had seen approximately 5,000 applications. So we're already seeing an uptick in a higher number of applications from folks, said Ian Davey, Chief Operating Officer for Home Forward. Applicants will be selected at random via a lottery. If chosen, you will be notified in September. Damn, it's April. Lord have mercy. So I am showing y'all this for all of you guys that are worried about if you can find a tenant on Section 8. Dan, they had capabilities of 3,000 applicants. They got 6,000 applicants the first day. Help me understand. Why are people so scared that, oh no, am I going to be able to find a Section 8 tenant? Is somebody going to be able to rent my property? Hello, people. This is just we're not even talking about the people that are already in the system. These are all new applicants. Did you see that, Dan? I got to bring it back up.
Oh, I saw it. The reality is, I don't think there's a problem finding people with approved vouchers. The problem is finding qualified tenants with approved vouchers.
But Dan, you know what my mentor told me? He said, Chris, it's easy to find oil if you dig in an oil field. Most people don't dig in oil. They're trying to find oil. They're digging over here. They're digging over there. Hey, I didn't make this stuff up. I'm just following rich people. He goes, dude, somebody's got paid me to do something. I just went where everybody else was doing it. So I'm saying that, Dan, if you're in the oil field, let me do this. Let me rephrase it. I want to ask you, is it easier? You got all these people. Now, obviously, we don't want them all. But we could sift through them too, correct?
Yeah, I mean, look, my Section 8 tenants go through the same exact rigorous process on the application side, with one exception. I'm not looking as much as their income, because Section 8 is going to be paying the majority of the rent, at least. So, with the exception of income earned, that's the only section of the application process that's going to get deferred, because Section 8 is I consider Section 8 as part of the income.
Oh yeah.
So, but other than that, people they go through the same rigorous process.
Same process. All I'm saying is, Dan, I came to the conclusion many, many years ago. If I had a bad tenant, I would rather have a bad tenant where the government is paying the most of the rent as opposed to a tenant where I get nothing. That was
And
like my.
and that's fine. I rather just have I just don't have bad tenants.
I'm just saying. Here's the thing in business. Obviously, we have to pick and choose what
You're
we want to do.
minimizing your risk. You're
There you go.
minimizing your risk.
Yeah. So call in, Dan. Call in on the line. We got Dan with us, 757-204-1332. We got somebody, an ultimate landlord warrior here. I got my book, Ultimate Landlord Guide, in the building. What's going on, Deborah?
She's referring to this book, people. This is the
So
book.
listen, registration is still open. Registration is still open. Dan, am I freezing or am I freezing on your end?
You just froze, but I can still hear you.
Something, I think it's my internet. Let me go plug this thing in. I'm gonna bring up another article I wanted to ask you about. I got some juicy stuff for y'all tonight.
Guys, call in with your questions. Call in with your questions.
You got my book. Good, good, good. You got the real estate negotiating Bible. Call in with the question. Listen, the Ultimate Landlord Survival Guide is still open. We're still taking, we're taking registrations still now. You can join. We do start this Tuesday. It starts this Tuesday, 7:00. Dan is going to break it down for you how he has stayed in business since 1989. I've been thinking about this a lot, Dan. How many people do you know have done anything since 1989?
Man, when you put it that way.
I've been thinking. I think about this every day. I'm in the bed. I'm thinking, and I wake up. I'm like, damn, this guy's been doing this shit since. People. I did this. I tried that. I didn't do that. Didn't work out. I didn't do this. And then I'm like, man, this guy's been doing this since 1980. That's generations, Dan. You got some really, really secrets to stay in business, brother.
Yeah, listen, as you do too, man. I mean, you've been in the business, what, 20, 21 years?
It's weird. When I was working with Teddy Riley, I had an opportunity to roll with Ted and Pharrell. These guys have secrets. They have, I promise y'all, they got secrets. Now I get to roll with Dan Borrero and go hang out with him. The guy has secrets, y'all. So we're absorbing secrets from different people. We take this little piece, we take that piece. We don't take everything, but Dan has put his life in a book that has sustained him for all this time. And it's going to cost you a few dollars to digest it all, but why not plant some seeds to help grow your business over the next year? So register. The link is in the video description.
Oh, yeah, listen.
Join us. Dan,
we're going to be discussing and teaching on that mastermind, the Ultimate Landlord Survival Guide. You'll be able to use your entire investment career. And these are tricks of the trade that Chris and I have picked up over the years. Now, if I had this type of or available to me this type of mentorship when I was first getting into the game, my project where I would be today would be which would be much accelerated because I wouldn't have made the mistakes that I made earlier in my part of the career.
Something, right? Something. Dan, I want to talk to you about another article that I have here. Y'all call in with your questions, 757-204-1332.
It's asking, while you're looking up that article, they're asking, what if they want to rent to a relative that's Section 8? It's the same thing. Right. It's the same process.
You better screen them. Shit, you better screen.
I personally wouldn't rent to a relative. Yeah. That's my rule of thumb.
Why not, Dan?
I don't rent to relatives, friends, or anybody referred to me that comes from a friend or a relative. Just don't do it.
Dan, I get calls all the time. People that friends that have friends that need places to live. They've got family members. They've got a loved one they want to help out. At the first part of my career, I was like, maybe. But after 6 years, I actually don't even consider it anymore. I want to ask you about that. Talk about that.
If you are a friend and if you are my relative, you know better than to ask me. I'll help you go find a place if you like, but I'm not going to rent to you. There hasn't been a time that I've rented to a family or friend, or somebody referred to me from a family and friend, that did not turn into a nightmare.
Are
It's
we
just
talking about 100%, Dan?
100. Well, out of
90.
12 times, out of 12 to 14 times, two of them have weren't a problem. Or one of them would started to become a problem, but they saw my how resolved I was and what I told them and how I was going to move forward, and they got in line. And the other one never gave me a problem, and she's still there. But that's very very rare, very rare. You know, there was a situation once with a relative. It was one of my siblings, and I went up to them and says, "Listen, it's not healthy for you. It's not healthy for me. It's not healthy for mommy. It's not healthy to dad. It's not healthy to your kids nor mine. You need to move.
Mm,
Take 3 months of the rent. Don't pay me, and you move. But at the end of the 3 months, if you're not out, I'm coming after you like a bat out of hell, and I'm going to treat you like I would treat anybody else. And I intend to sue you for the monies that you owe me, because then I'm going
mhm.
to go scorched earth." And they knew my personality. They knew
I'm
I wasn't
freezing.
kidding, and they took the 3 months and they left. Now
Dan,
it was
Imma
extremely
go plug in
awkward
my
for about
Dan, let
2
me plug my internet in real quick. Keep talking about that, I'll be right back, Imma plug it in.
Yeah.
People saying
So
I'm freezing.
yeah. So the point is, I want everyone here to understand. I wasn't. I wasn't being. I don't want to come across as I was being a bully or really hardcore. The reality is that when you rent to family and friends for the sake of avoiding the unawkwardness, for the sake of avoiding problems within the family or friend group, you put yourself in a position of having to tolerate what you would not tolerate from someone else. Now, every time you tolerate something, you are compromising your business, and your business is landlording. Your business is generating profit from the risk that you took financially, and from the work that it took to take that risk to save for that down payment. And there was also the time that you spent managing that property to make sure that you provide a safe and clean environment. So, it's not fair to you. It's not fair to the other individual, nor is it fair to other tenants in the building, that there's preferential treatment given to one tenant and not the others. And if anybody has a question, you could call into that number, 757 Or put your questions into the chat. AN says, don't rent to family and friends. Will you take a HELOC to pay for college for kids? That's a tough question, right? I never did that. I do have a HELOC. I've used my HELOC to as a bridge loan only. I've never used my HELOC to pay for my kids' college education. By the way, there's 4 degrees back there that belong to my kids, that my wife and I paid for. My kids all graduated with no debt. And I'm not saying that because I'm trying to show off, but you shouldn't be thinking about your kids' college when they're about to go to college. That's something you should be thinking about the day that they're born. So one of the things I
Mm,
recommend, instead of uh, depending on a HELOC, is every state has a 529 plan that you could max out on contributions. Now, every state has different rules for that 529 plan. So in New York City, for instance, New York State, you're allowed to maximize 10,000 per family to that 529 plan. So if you live in New York State or New York City, you're paying New York City, New York State tax, which is about 17%, 17 to 20%, depending on your salary, your income. So when I put that $10,000 in, I'm only really putting 8,000, because I saved $2,000 in taxes. Now
mm.
in New Jersey, for instance, when you put money into the 529 plan, it's not tax deductible, but the interest, with the earnings earned, the interest earned or any earnings earned from your investments within that 529 plan, it's non-taxable. So if
Mhm.
you're doing that from the day that the child is born, or you have, you don't have to worry about taking a HELOC
Is that
against
what
your,
he's saying?
you should be financially preparing for that college expense when your child is younger,
There's
not
something,
worried
man.
about it when they're older.
There's something, isn't it, Dan? There's something to think about. I don't know why our government doesn't help us more. When I drive around and I see people just out, I'm like, why isn't there? I feel like I'm in the twilight zone again, Dan. How come we don't have systems to say, look, if you want to go better yourself, the government will pay X amount of dollars? Why do you think that doesn't exist?
That's a really good question.
It'll make the country better.
Yeah, I don't. It makes a country. There are studies that prove um, the difference between a person who just has a high school diploma versus the person who has a college degree. Now, but I don't. I want to make sure I get something across too. There's no reason why I should have had to pay $75,000 a year for one of my kids to go to college.
Holy shit.
There's no reason for that, right?
Wow.
And what
Wow.
angers me is that same university owns a lot of property in that he went to Northeastern. They own a lot of property in around the city of Boston,
Thanks to you.
and they don't pay no taxes. They don't pay no real estate
Oh, they
taxes.
tax free.
They tax
Exempt.
they're exempt. So if you want to
Mm.
charge $75,000 a year, no worries. Now we're going to charge you taxes. We're going to charge you taxes on your income like a business because you're treating it like a business. We're going to
Mhm.
charge you taxes on the real estate taxes. Now take that money and give it back to the students to pay some of that. That's the cost of college.
Wow, dude. We're gonna have to.
I don't know any business. They treat it like a business. They charge you like a business, but they don't have to pay taxes like a business.
I think that's gonna be the downfall of us here in this country, dude. We don't pour back into our developing our people. I think about it, then I'm like, it's ludicrous. It is
And by the,
ludicrous.
by the way, Chris, I don't believe everybody should go to college. Some
No
people just
doubt.
go to college.
No doubt.
I know electricians that make more than people who got master's degrees. I know
Mm.
plumbers that make more than people who got master's degrees. So if you want to, if you go to trade school.
Yeah, no doubt.
We have a shortage on trade on electricians and plumbers, carpenters.
That's true. Dan, I want to show the people some real estate we're selling. Is that okay with you? Can I show them that property you got in Florida?
Yeah, we could start with that one.
I got my one there. Then I got one. We could show houses all day, but I mean, I want to show y'all. Dan and I do this business. Did y'all know that? Did you know that we're not just guys how to teaching people how to do this? Dan, mandatory National Association of Realtors membership facing a new legal challenge. The Georgia case joins a handful of others as agents argue they're being forced to pay unnecessary association fees to gain access to listings. You are going to love this. A new lawsuit was filed last week against NAR, adding, oh, come on, adding to the handful of cases launched by agents and brokers who are challenging the association's mandatory membership rules. I love this. I love it. Milco alleges the trade organization, aka the mob, has been unjustly enriched. Did I say the mob? By forcing him to pay exorbitant membership fees in addition to those required by the state and local associations for the past 37 years. Milco has suffered $75,000 in damages, but check this out. Where are we at? Milco joins other cases. What I want y'all to see is what they're paying for. They're paying for. Where is it at, y'all? They're paying for fees, y'all, when you have an inactive license. You're paying to have an inactive license, y'all. Did you know that was a fee, Dan?
Yeah, they've got a monopoly on this, man.
So let me get this straight. Let me understand this. I got a realtor's license. I'm not using this shit. I still got to pay the fee to not use the license. I just want to make sure I'm clear. Go, Dan.
I'm not a realtor. I can tell you if I was a realtor, I'd find that to be extremely unfair. But I just had this conversation.
Where? When?
Not with this not with this in particular. I just got into a severe argument with
Oh shit!
at the dinner table.
I don't want to hear about that argument. Let's
No,
stay here.
but this is the point is this: if you know what the job pays and you know what is required and you don't like it, don't take the job. Right? You don't
Mic
have
drop.
to do this. If you don't like it, you don't have to like it. Just have to do with teachers and maternity leave. And she was saying, well, it's not fair that they don't get maternity leave. And my argument was, is it fair that they only work 180 days a year and you stay they get the money that they get? You know what the pay is, you know what the benefits are, and before you took the job, don't like it, go do something else. We live in the United States of America. You can do whatever you want to do.
Yeah, but Dan, that's coming from you, where you do almost get to do a lot of what you want to do. Obviously, you got a lot of bosses, a lot of contractors, a lot of employees. They're your bosses. I understand. But when you get a license, do you know that you have to pay an inactive license fee?
And then that was their argument. Well, they didn't know that. I says, well, that's a you problem. So you decided to go into a career without knowing everything about the career before you decided to go into it?
But Dan, we didn't know everything about real estate either.
Okay. I didn't know anything about real estate, but I at one point did have my license.
You had a real estate license?
I
I can't
gave it up
imagine
because
that.
I didn't want to do the continuous
Can
ed class.
anybody here imagine Dan Borrero with a?
Hold on. I had my real estate license, but I wasn't the guy out there knocking on doors to get listings. I had it as a complimentary to my investment career.
You pissed Dan Borrero off. I can imagine you now driving people around.
Yeah, that would never happen. And I'm not downplaying the people that do, because that's hard work.
It is hard, dog.
But Dan Borrero doesn't have that personality.
You pissed Dan Borrero off. You know what?
Let me get out my car. I pull over. Get out the car. Let me get out my car.
I love talking to this guy. You pissed Dan Borrero off. Oh yeah, we're not doing this. No. Hey yo, my phone is not working. I got a new thing. Caller, you're on the line with Chris and Dan. Please state your name and where you're calling from. You got a question because I can't get it working on here.
Okay, cool. This is Irvin from Cape Coral, Florida.
Irvin, what's up, brother?
Yep. What's going on, man? What's going on, man?
You got 5 minutes. What you got, Irvin? Irvin.
All right. First off, big up to you and Dan, man. Y'all basically like uncles I ain't never had before. But
wow, that is cool.
My main, definitely, man. All right. Here's my question: if I own,
let's spell that right.
rental, AKA slow flips.
Slow flips.
So let's say
I want to hug you through the phone.
Yep. You said what?
I want to hug you through the phone. But go ahead.
Oh, you can hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. No, I'm just saying, if you own a couple of those and you already got the loan drawn up for, whatever amount they paying, can you charge them market rent, or you just got to go by what the loan is?
You lost me.
Yeah, he can't hear you, Dan. Hey, Irvin, could you be a little more specific? Are you talking about the loan that you took out or the loan you're giving them and the rent? I'm not following you, brother.
Yeah, like the loan I'm giving them. So, for example, let's say if they bought it for $60,000 and their payment is $800. I'm just throwing random numbers.
Yeah.
But the market rent in that area is $1,000. can I charge them market rent, or can I just only charge them what they're financing the 50 grand for or 60 grand for?
That's a good question.
You
Hey, look, Dan, 1 second, Dan. He can't hear you because I got Irvin. We're gonna chop this up. Is that your question? We're gonna cut you off and answer it online. Is it okay?
Chris, can you put him on mute for a minute and let us answer it, and then he can come back on?
Irvin, hold tight 1 second. We're gonna talk through the internet. Hold tight. Don't move. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Go, Dan.
So my question is, if you did a mortgage with a note for the property, all you could charge is according to what that mortgage and the note agreement is.
It's a contract for deed.
What?
Contract for deed.
That's the same thing as a mortgage. And you and legally in the state of Florida, you're supposed to also file the contract for deed with the county. All right. So again, I'm not an attorney, but my understanding is you're supposed to do that. Now, every time I've done a contract for deed, I've filed it with the county. I've recorded it. So no, you can't change it up and say, you know what, the market rent is $1,000. You're only paying a mortgage of $800. No. Now, if you did a lease to own, that's a different argument, and I'd rather let Chris answer that side of the question.
Irvin, let me make sure I understand. You do have a contract for deed, correct?
Yes, correct. Right. Contract for deed.
Hold tight.
Agreement for deed, contract for deed.
Whatever, yeah. Agreement for deed. So, Irvin, oh, man. Dan, why can't we just work? I always work backwards on these things, dude. We're answering you online, brother. We're going to just, hey.
Oh, okay. All right, I'll rewatch that.
Yeah, I'm going to hang up, brother. All right, we're going to answer you online right now. Thanks for calling.
Okay, no problem.
All right, peace. That was a cool, smooth sounding dude. Dan, when I do these things, I work backwards. I say, what monthly payment do I want? $1,000. All right, cool. What is the total principal amount? 80 grand, whatever. Man, I go to the amortization calculator, Dan. I type in $80,000 and I type in 11%. And if the shit is too low, then I go to $80,000, I type in 12%. And if it's too low, then I will change it. Every state has a maximum. You know, we're not attorneys.
Well, hold on. Every state, explain to people. Every state has a maximum interest rate that you could charge.
That's right.
It's most of the time, if I recollect, and I want everyone here to understand, we're not attorneys.
Not attorneys.
It's called usury law.
Yeah.
All right. So you want to make sure that you're within the parameters of the law within the state.
Yeah.
On that you're not charging an excessive amount of interest, because now that person could take you back to court and say, hey, judge, they were robbing me and they didn't comply with the law. Now you got a major problem. You open up a can of worms.
Yeah, that's true. So in Virginia, it's 12, right? So I have never had a problem. If you do that, you can always charge point. I mean, there's so many ways around this stuff, man, which investors do. You could charge points on top of that. But if I were you, Irvin, just work backwards, brother. Don't try to. What is he trying to do, man? He knows market. Obviously, the market is 1,000. He's charging 800. What is he trying to do? I'm trying to figure out. Is he just doesn't want to raise the interest rate to match it, or what?
He wants to get what the market rent would be, and that's fine. But now the question becomes, what's the draw? When I'm selling a property that I'm holding the mortgage on, the draw is it's a mortgage that you wouldn't be able to get because your credit screwed up. And then if they do have good credit and a good down payment, I'm facilitating the ease of getting a mortgage, because now I'm becoming the bank. What do I care if they're paying 200 less, as long as I'm getting my number that makes sense to me? And that's also a selling point to that buyer. Hey, why would you pay rent when you could be paying $200 less a month and you own the property?
You want to do seller financing?
Yeah, I like doing seller financing. Not on houses or condos, only on land.
So, Irvin, I mean, we're gonna let you go. I would definitely do a lease option all day, because that way the rent is the rent. I mean, shit, I could charge whatever I want to charge for rent. There is no used real. Well, is there a used real off for rent, Dan? I don't know.
It depends on the state and the city you're in. So if you're in a rent stabilized apartment in New York City, the
Yeah, we
city
ain't doing that.
dictates what the rent is. If
We ain't
you're in
doing
if you're in an apartment building where there is no rent stabilization, the market dictates what the rent is. You
so
know, I could be asking $5,000 a month, but if everybody else on the block has the same apartment for 1,500, my apartment's never going to rent. The market dictates the rent, not I.
So listen, guys, this is exactly what we're going to be going over in the Landlord's Survival Guide. You got 2 days to join up. You got 4 weeks of me and Dan Borrero showing you how to turn yourself into the ultimate landlord warrior. How do you think how we lost our hair? And how do you think we've survived in this business for almost 50 years together? Because we have developed some systems, processes, and procedures to not only locate the right tenants, but screen them, manage the properties. Dan is the master doing the traditional side. I've been blessed to have a ton of lease options and Section 8 rentals. In fact, this is the step-by-step stuff we're going to be covering starting this Tuesday. So book your call. We're still taking registrations. Dan, I am busting at the seams to get started at this thing, brother.
Yeah, so am I. I mean, look, I would tell everybody when you book your call, book it for tomorrow. There's still some spots available for
That's
tomorrow.
It. Nothing else.
The reason we are doing this, we interviewing people. We want to make sure that we're the right fit for you, and we want to make sure that you're the right fit for this class. This is going to be a 4-week class. It's going to be every Tuesday and Thursdays from 7 to 9, and it's going to be real estate 4.0 on steroids. This is going to be intense. I'm going to be covering the conventional side. Kris is going to be covering the untraditional side with lease to own, as well as the Section 8 side. Whenever I have a Section 8 tenant question, I call Kris. He's my mentor when it comes to that. I'm going to be covering the traditional side, and what we're trying to get people to understand is that it's not just also how you vet your tenants. It's about from day one, you setting the precedence, and without you even being there, the property should speak on your behalf. You know, the way my properties are set up, when a tenant is a prospective tenant applicant walks up to the building, it's immaculate. When they walk in through the building to get to that apartment, there's nobody's baby carriages out in the hallway, or bicycles, or boxes, or it sets the tone, right? When they walk into the apartment, how spotless it is, right? So it's telling that tenant that is a get over tenant, what I call professional tenants, this guy is going to be a little difficult to get over on. My apartments are telling my tenant applicants, without me being there, my personality type,
anal,
my professionalism.
Can y'all imagine renting from Dan Borrero, boy? Whew, good.
So
Lord, you wouldn't even rent to yourself.
No, I wouldn't. I probably couldn't pass my own tenant application process. The point is, it's not only that; it's about who you pick as your team members. Who are those team members? How do you find those team members? How do you interview those team members? What decision process should you go through in deciding if those team members will be a good fit for you? Because you could be doing everything right, but those team members are going to eventually interact with that tenant.
That's right.
If that interaction is unprofessional, you're going to have a problem with that tenant. That good tenant's going to go bad on you, because it's not the tenant's fault. It's your fault for picking the wrong team member.
Always my fault.
Right. So we're going to be talking about multiple things that go into running a property, and how to increase cash flow, how to decrease tenant turnover, how to increase net profits. We're going to be talking about seasonal maintenance, the importance of seasonal maintenance. Why do we do seasonal maintenance? How does this seasonal maintenance increase your tenant satisfaction, decrease your tenant turnover, increase your net profits? We're going to be talking from beginning to end on how to run this business.
Fast Cholo says, "What up from Texas? What's going on, homie? If you were a rookie investor today with $10,000 in a bank, what would we do to invest that money into?" Dan?
I'd invest it in me.
The SME 500, not the S&P 500.
$10,000 is not enough that's going to make or break you
Mhm.
in an investment, but it will make a difference in your education and whether you're going to be successful or not.
You got to invest in yourself.
Yeah,
And you know what?
Chris and I spend an enormous amount of money on education every year.
They don't want to know. They don't want to know. They don't even want to know. But I will say, fast cholo, it's scary to invest in yourself
Mm-hmm.
because you think it's so weird. We put so much value on giving our money to other people, right? We put so much value. And then when we had to put money into ourselves, we almost say, nah, I ain't going to do that. And then I remember when I talked to Dan, he was like, man, this is the first training. When I met Dan, what was it, 19? He was like, man, when was the last training you went to before that, Dan? I remember you telling me something. You haven't been there a while.
So I had stopped going to conferences and I got real comfortable for like 10 years, almost 10 years. And this one person had started to light a fire underneath me. The person, Patrick Pitt David. And when he came out with his first conference, when he hit 1 million YouTube subscribers, you remember? I jumped on it right away with my brother, not knowing I was going to meet Chris Haskins.
That's crazy, right?
Chris Haskins and I, we've done a lot of things together since 2019.
Not only that, we developed friends. Like I'm hanging out with Dan, his family. Dan's met my family. I think to me, the relationship, I don't worry about whether I trust a guy. I get a guy check, and I worry about it, get paid. I mean, there is no. Stephen Covey calls it the speed of trust. Like the good thing about real estate dudes, we are already used to dealing with big dollars. So it's like,
right.
It's like, look, man, we got 20 grand. Come on. I mean, just mail the check. So it's not like a major hurdle to get over. So when you do business with real estate people, it's like, all right, what is it? Cool, let's go. That's what I love the most. All right, Dan, we're going to show y'all 2 houses we have on the market. Y'all book your call in the video description. Don't shortchange yourself. Turn yourself into a landlord warrior and train your tenants so they don't train you. Shit, I'm tired of people calling me. Don't you get tired of it, Dan? What am I going to do?
Yeah, I mean, look, the reality is we decided to do this because when we compare the phone calls we get for people who are having problems, they do one-on-one consultations with us. Most of them have to do with how they're running their property, and it's unprofessional, and hence, when they're having problems with their tenants, most of the time is that they're the problem, not
self-inflicted. Yeah. I gotta bring up that one guy, Dan, that was paying. Dan, he was paying utilities for the Section 8 tenant, dog. I love the guy. Dan, I like the guy. He had a great personality.
Yeah, he did.
I'm like, you paying what? That's all that is. I love, dude, if you're watching, I do love you. It's nothing but lack of training. That's all. You gotta be around the right people.
He had a tenant for 3 years, not having paid any rent. Still in there, Section 8. Section 8's not even paying him. Yeah, and he has to pay the tenant's utility bills.
That's Dan. That's nothing but a lack of training, and I'm saying that lovingly.
He did everything wrong from the beginning.
All he had to do was spend a few $1,000s, get the training, and you get the lease. Yeah. Anyway, Dan, what we got here, buddy? This is a beautiful property you got.
This is one of the condos that we had that we decided to sell because we're moving some money around. This is a 2-bedroom, 2-bath condo.
In unit.
Yeah. And this is actually, I don't have a problem telling people. This unit cost me about $80,000, and I've been renting this since 2018. The last tenant who left was paying, if I remember correctly, $1,850.
Damn.
And this property cost me about $80,000 back in 2018.
This is a nice place.
Yeah, this has been a really good income producer, but we're moving some money around. We're getting into some commercial property, so this is going to be a 1031.
I like that hot water heater in there, man. Whose idea was that?
In this community, I can't even take that from that was the way most of the apartments are.
They got that cantilever in that wall right there hanging out.
That's right. Yep.
Y'all like that? Cantilever. You better learn that, brothers, sisters. You better learn what a cantilever is.
Yep.
Granted, Oh, that's granted? No,
that's not even granted. That, believe it or not, is full micro. I didn't. This is an apartment I bought from an estate. We bought 8 apartments from this estate in this one community, and we didn't do anything other than paint and clean.
Damn. You got it when what in 2009 and 10 when it was crashing?
This was I think we bought this in 2018. No, maybe 17. I'm sorry, 2017. We paid 80,000 for this. Now, the crazy part was if I had sold this last year, I would have gotten about 220 for this. But the market's come down dramatically in this area in Central Florida for multiple reasons. So that's why it's being sold now for 175.
That is insane, dude.
But irregardless, I'm still making money. Right?
Is this a tray ceiling in the bathroom?
No, that ceiling is actually, they have what they call pancake units for the air handlers for the AC, and that pancake unit is in the that's access to that pancake unit. That's an AC.
Oh, that's a panel. That's a panel right there.
It's a panel.
I want to show my house. I never get to show anything. You're on the line with Chris and Dan. Please state your name and where you're calling from.
How's it going? This is Daryl from St. Louis.
How are you, Daryl?
What's up, Daryl? Dan you can't hear Darren, but he can hear you. Hit us with a question. I got a new phone, so I haven't hooked it up to the system yet. Daryl, what's your question, buddy? Thanks for calling.
Got it. Okay, this is Daryl again, the guy that Dan called my house a dog last time.
Oh, dang.
Things I needed to get rid of.
Oh,
and
that sounds about right. Yeah. Dan's just a mean SOB, ain't he?
Yes, he is. But two things real quick. The first question I have for you, you were talking earlier about having a real estate license, and I'm actually scheduled to take the class, and the only reason I want the class is to get more money back when I sell that home and possibly do some other stuff. Would you all recommend doing that or just using an agent and building relationships on that side?
All right, I'm going to mute the phone and we're going to answer it. We'll come right back to the next question. Is it okay?
Gotcha.
Go.
Yeah, I'm good with it. I'm real good with it. Because if you could keep some of that money that commission, even when you're buying or selling on both sides all day long. So the reason I got rid of mine was because I didn't want to do my continuous ed education anymore. But my brother got his. So
it's almost like you got it.
Partner. So as long as one of us got it, it doesn't matter. I like the idea. I love the hustle.
Yep.
Plus, it gives you access to the MLS. It gives you access to what they call Wednesday morning meetings that most realtors have with their other realtors, where everyone brings into the office any new listings they got before they put it on the MLS. So, I don't have a problem with that. I like the idea. Absolutely.
Me too. Daryl, we're going to come back. Daryl, I'm good with you getting a license. For me, I'm just like Dan. I'm just too grouchy and mean to go. I just don't want to go to class. I got too many things to do to go to continuing ed. But my business partner has it. So it's like I got it without having to do anything. So if you're not in that situation, and I want to make sure that you understand that Dan and I both are empathetic. We are blessed to have people that are in our team that have licenses, right? So we don't have to deal with that. But if you don't have that, I would absolutely get my license. Dan, yeah, I'll say so.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Daryl, next question.
Yes, sir.
We just answered that one online. I hope you heard it. Shit, I don't even know.
Okay, good to go.
What's the next one?
Thank you for that answer.
Yep.
The second question I have is for Dan. My daughter, she lives there. She works. She makes good money. And I was talking to her about investing in real estate, and she says it's too expensive there. And I told her, no, it's getting a network and finding out what's there.
Where? So where's your daughter at?
Where can I send her in Brooklyn to learn about investing?
On Brooklyn. Okay. Daryl, we're going to go ahead and hang up and answer that question online. Is that okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, man. Much love to you. Thank you. Peace.
I got to tell you, I agree with...
Be honest, Dan. Tell the people the truth.
I agree with Daryl's daughter not to invest in Brooklyn, but for different reasons, not for the reason that she's saying. as a landlord, the majority of my wealth in real estate is in New York City.
Yeah, but wealth, then you can't eat wealth. You can't eat
Right.
it.
I can't eat the bricks that are on that wall. I can't
That's
eat the
right.
sheetrock. I can't eat
That's
the
right.
BX cable behind the wall, the
There you
flooring, the windows, the doors, the
can't
roofing, the
eat it.
paint. Can't eat it. I can't
No,
drive it. I can't
can't spend
vacation
it.
it.
Can't
Right.
spend
So
it.
I have, on paper, it makes me look extremely wealthy. Now, I don't advise anyone to invest in the city of New York right now. You have the city council that is pandering to tenants. Tenants consist of 70% of the population of the city of New York are tenants. And the city council is constantly coming out with new laws that benefit, quote unquote, they think they benefit the tenants, and they're screwing the landlords. But the reality is, the more you screw the landlords, the less housing there is,
Yeah.
the less quality housing there is, the less clean housing there is, the more unsafe that housing will be, because they're not earning enough income to pay for the expense to make that housing safe and clean. Okay. On top of that, I'll give you another example. One of the city councilmen that is running for the mayor of the city of New York was saying one of the things he would do if he became mayor was he would do a 0% increase on every rent stabilized building in the city of New York,
Why?
because he's pandering to the tenants.
Mm.
Now, but
Well, you want the
think about this. Real estate taxes continue to go up. Water and sewer charges continue to go up. Right now, my insurance policies are up double
in the city.
they were 3 years ago.
Wow.
The ticket barrage for sanitation ticket is up over 100%. My labor cost is up 30% since COVID. Material costs, especially with the new tariffs, is up somewhere between 50 to 100%. So now, if you give me a 0% increase, but all of my costs continue to go up, how can I possibly provide, even if I want to do it, which I won't want to do it because I don't want to work for free, right? How can I possibly provide a safe and clean environment for my tenants to live in? I can't afford it. There's not enough income coming in.
All right, Dan, what's your answer to the question? What does she do to buy in Brooklyn?
Don't buy. Do not buy in Brooklyn.
That's what I was waiting for Dan to say. That took about 8 minutes.
Now, because I want people to understand, I'm talking out of frustration, and I'm talking out of experience. If you're buying in Brooklyn right now, you are buying for status. You're not buying for cash flow. You could take that money, go outside of the 5 boroughs, and buy something that makes sense for cash flow and appreciation.
Dan. Hey, I got a shout out to Don Gorgon. That's Irvin. He called in. Thank you so much for your love offering, brother. Thank you. I mean, $2. Dan. Oh, I gotta show my house. I never get to show. I'm always looking at Dan's house.
This is a gorgeous house that Chris is flipping.
I never get to show any of my stuff to Dan. I'm always looking at Dan. Dan's like the big brother. You just gotta just roll along. So we bought this one for $300. I went to see it today. I haven't seen it in 2 weeks. Check this out, y'all. It's cool. 3,000 square feet, new roof.
Beautiful house.
It is nice. It's gorgeous. We staged it too. One thing I regret with my house, Dan, I didn't do these little windows up here. What are they called?
I forget what they're called, but they do add a lot of character to it, don't it? To the
And
room.
not only, I didn't know this, but it's so weird. You don't know what you don't know. You can put blinds here.
Yes.
And you can still get all the light. I'm like, Chris, you just... Ugh. So anyway, this color, y'all, is called grayish. You can see the chair railing going around here. Chair railing. Got a mirror there. And let's see. This is a kitchen. We're using quartz. This kitchen has 16 cabinets. Dining room there. Walking here. We're using luxury vinyl plank. What are you using?
I've started using that. I try to get the better quality one. I like it a lot, but in the
Little thicker.
kitchen areas, I'm still going with porcelain tile, and I
Oh man,
usually go with the 12 by 18,
I saw you had that at the Florida house.
12 by 24 rather.
12, 12. Yeah, yeah. Okay, you got that. That's common in the South because it's cool, correct?
Yes.
So y'all see this tub? It looks brand new, right? We glazed it. Saved me about $3,000. No tub rip out, no plumbing redo. We got grays on the walls, black fixtures. What type? I see you still using chrome fixtures, Dan.
Because that's the style in that area. But if I was doing a total regut or full renovation, I'm going to be using all the black hinges, black
Got it.
doorknobs. I would have done what you did.
Okay, cool.
Um, Storm is on here. What's going on, Storm?
Storm in the building.
Yeah.
What? Black fixtures. So y'all, I just want people to know. Oh, we paid $300 for this. We got it listed for $480. New deck. Got a little water view back there.
So what's gonna after your carrying costs and your upgrades? What's gonna be in that profit on this?
I don't know. I don't even know. It depends on what. Remember, Dan, I don't deal with the sales part of my business. I am so an influencer. I cannot deal with the sales. As long as we make 50, I'm good, man. I mean, yeah. Y'all, I'm on the buy side. I stay out of the sales side because I pass on too much value. And then when we talk offline, a lot of times I'm always giving people breaks, charging them less, giving them discounts. And Dan too. Dan, we do the same thing. So, what up, Storm in the building? Dan, what recourse do landlords? We gotta get out of here. What recourse do landlords have in New York?
None.
Y'all don't have any advocates?
It's horrible. People say to me, people call me up. So I call up a friend of mine. You know him, Jude Bernard.
Yeah. Oh, he doing it.
And I needed to get a new housing tenant landlord attorney. I said, Jude, I need a good landlord tenant landlord attorney. He says to me, he started laughing. I said, what's so funny? He goes, man, this is the city of New York. There's no good attorneys when it comes to landlord tenant attorney. And I said, you know what, bro? You're 100% right.
Yeah, I believe him.
Yeah, I said, you 100%. That was a stupid question. All right, I need an attorney that's going to communicate well and do the paperwork as on time. He said, now we're talking. He said, use this person. He gave me he referred somebody to me. Look, the reality is the laws in the city of New York are so lopsided that look, I just posted an article.
I saw that with the 3 year.
3 years tenant not paying and creating havoc in the building and creating dangerous situations in the building.
I saw that. Smoking,
and he still can't get her out.
Leaving the door open.
So the point is, even more of a reason why what I tell people is I've been trained by the best professional tenants. And I've been trained by the worst judicial system against landlords. There's a reason why my application process is as strict as it is. But I thank God for having been trained by the best professional tenants and by the worst judicial system against landlords, because I've taken that training and I've implemented that same training in my other states that I also invest in, which is in New Jersey and Florida. Mm-hmm. And when I teach people this process, they could take this training to any state in the union. Mm-hmm. Right? So if you're interested, go to dankrisdeal.com.
Oh, we got that. That's right. Dan Chris Deal. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Listen, y'all, get educated. Spend some money on yourself, not on your body. It's so weird. I see people, Louis, Prada, Gucci, all this mess on their bodies. I'm like, what's the last book you read? And I'm not trying to degrade anybody. I really want to know, what are you putting in your mind? How much money are you putting in your mind? Because shit, I'm trying to do it my daggone self. Dan.
Funny when I see people say, "Hey, I can't afford that class." Hold on, Chris. While you were on vacation, remember I was telling you about that one situation with that one person. She was telling me how she can't afford it because she was going on vacation. Using that money to go on vacation. And I said to her, I said, you know what? I said, I appreciate you taking out the time to be here. But and I appreciate you even more so for being so honest with us. This is why we do these interviews, because we want to make sure you're a good fit for us and that we're a good fit for you. So she said, well, what does that mean? I said, well, this class ain't going to work out well for you. You don't have your mindset right yet. You want to feed your wants before you feed your business. And in America, if you want your business to ever feed you all you want, you got to feed your business first, not only with the money, but with your time. Right?
I learned the hard way on that one, Dan. Keeping rent money instead of paying down principal.
Yeah.
Don't do it. And it could work out good for you. Daryl, thank you so much for your love offering, dog. Thank you, man. Thank you. Squabble, we got to get out of here. Chris, Dan, will you gentlemen be having a subject 2? Yes, in June. I got to get done with this ultimate landlord. Then we'll do subject 2 in June. Dan, how did you decide, Miss James, on what market you were going to put offers in?
We've actually covered that, Miss James, in our mentorship class several times. For those of you that don't know, I do a free mentorship class every single Wednesday night. Chris has been a guest speaker several times. You can go to danielborrerojr.com and sign up there. Every Wednesday night, we do it for free. How did I decide the markets I was going to be in? There's multiple things that go into me deciding what markets we're going to be in. We just covered that again in somewhat much more in depth 2 weeks ago. Real estate in the path to progress, right? Meaning most of the time where it's going to regentrify. So if you're in a rural area, I would say go into the State Department of Transportation, and there is where you could see what roads have been funded for either expansion or new roads or new highways or exits off of highways. You want to go to city council member meetings and see where people were trying to get rezoning from residential to commercial. Or you want to literally put yourself on the mailing list of every politician in a specific area that you're interested in. So, for instance, I am on. I used to do a lot of business up in Sarasota County, which is like Northport area, Punta Gorda area in Florida. And when they were opening up that President Biden got the American Chip Act passed Congress, where he was wanted to bring the manufacturing of these chips back to the United States instead of depending so much on Hong Kong. And they got a billion dollar situation where they're building a major factory there to build these chips. Well,
these chips are hot topic nowadays. They're hot topic everywhere.
I was getting multiple emails from the email list from the politicians in that area that I had put myself on their email list years ago about what they did to bring this opportunity in and how many jobs it was going to create. Well, the reality is none of them voted for this because they were all Republicans and they were voting against Biden's anything that Biden did. And this is not a political statement, but other than that, they want to take credit for it as if they did it. Meanwhile, they voted against it, right? So politicians are all liars. Doesn't matter what party they're in.
They were the damn.
But they always want to take credit for something they didn't do. But at least you know what's coming by putting yourself on that email list, right? Whether you like that person, their politics or not, you should be putting yourself on that email list.
All right, we're out of here. Dan, thank you so much. Listen, guys, set yourself apart. If you want to be in this business for the long term, and then everything I do in my life now, well, not everything, the majority, I'm in it for the long haul. I'm like, I don't want nothing this fast, quick. I'm like, I just don't have time for it. Like I'm looking this thing, the long play, right? So I've learned in my life to shoot for the long play, and it works out for me.
Yeah, in real estate, everything is long term. If you're looking to get into this business to become rich overnight,
we're not the guys. I'm not the guys
for you. We're not the guys who are going to tell you can do this business for no money. We're not the guys who are going to tell you do this business with other people's money. We're not the guys who are going to tell you you could go out, you could by next year you're going to be owning 50 properties. We're not those guys.
But if you want a proven system, it may take time and it's going to take work, but it does end up working over time. Here's the thing that I had to understand. Like, there's so many different get rich quick things hitting me, Dan. Hit me. But if you can stay in the business over time and you get trained, this business can work for you. I'll see you guys soon.
Chris, if you don't mind, I just want to finish off that one question. Ms. James is saying, yes, I know you did. However, I meant, how did you finally choose one? There are many options. So I choose primarily on these major factors: accessibility, meaning roads, airports, job opportunity, job growth. If there's no job employment growth or no employment opportunity, the area will always stagnate or even lose population, and now your property values go down.
Yeah.
So these are the major factors. I know it sounds crazy. Proximity to the airport, access with roads, job opportunities, and are there going to be job growth? Because job opportunity, job growth, and accessibility brings population. The more, as the area grows in population, the property value goes up, so does the rental income.
All right. Mr. Jackson, you'll get my ebook tomorrow. All my stuff's coming digital. You'll be able to just download it. We'll send it out tomorrow. Dan, thank you. See y'all next Sunday. Peace.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.